And welcome back, everyone, to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from, and I'm going to butcher this name, but it's one of those longer names. Apo Shinke War Kindo Flint Biak? Anyway, you'll know who you are when you see this video. So you asked the question, what wins in a fight? The vast amount of Nexo Knight powers versus Hamon from Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. As someone who does not follow either series, I did have to look up what both these can do. And really, the thing about Nexo Knights, first and foremost, is technically speaking, while each color does have a specific set of abilities, for example, poison only exists within the green color from what I can find, they do all have like similar abilities like high damage, healing, paralyzed, binding, things along those lines. That said, however, they all also take different forms as well. One might be a food-based attack that heals, where another might be a food-based attack that damages. One might be a light-based attack that binds, while another might be a light-based attack that poisons somehow. So there is a lot of variety in there. Hamon is essentially kind of like using chi, life force, ki, all that kind of thing. It's a martial arts based around ki, more or less, or chi. And it's specifically toxic to vampires in the Jojo world. That being said, it also has a lot of applications, including just physically enhancing yourself, creating energy weapons, enhancing your fists, healing. Again, it's capable of burning vampires. It does have a lot of practicality for it. Now, when we ask who wins this, it's really less of who wins in a fight, unless we're throwing every Nexomon against a Hamon user, in which case, no, yeah, I keep saying Nexomon. That's a different series entirely. Nexo Knight against a Hamon user like Jonathan, in which case the sheer numbers and versatility would give the Nexo Knights the win. And Nexo Knights the win. Now I said mites. I'm getting closer. But if we're looking about like use and practicality, here's the thing. If we're talking about sheer versatility and just the sheer amount of abilities, well, of course it's the Nexo Knights then. Of course they win that. But if we're talking actually about practicality and someone having the ability an ability that anyone could theoretically use, well, then that's got to go to the Hamon, because theoretically, while not everyone can use Hamon, you can be trained a lot easier to use Hamon than you could be using any of the Nexo Knight powers, because not every Nexo Knight can use every Nexo Knight power. Like there's a reason that there are specific knights for specific colors in Nexo Knights. So if we're talking about actual usage, Hamon is the better of the two to go with. But that still begs the question, do you go for sheer versatility, power, and numbers? Or do you go with easier accessibility with still a fair amount of versatility? Personally, if you were to ask me, I actually would probably go with Hamon more, because you don't have to switch up what you're doing. Even if I did have access to every Nexo Knight power, I would still probably take Hamon over it, just because all of my abilities are there and functioning. It's just a matter of me applying them. Whereas with a Nexo Knight power, I would actually have to actively switch and choose a different power. So I would actually say Hamon's probably the winner here. It's just the more, weirdly say, practical use. Practically, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's more practical to use. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, I digress. That's my thoughts, though. I'll go Hamon. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.